Are we good to start now?
Jairam. So, Manisha, let's start.
Okay, we are starting now. Good evening, everyone. This is Dr. Monisha Bhatia. I welcome you all to the monthly session of IACT. IACT is the International Association of Counselors and Therapists. This is the India chapter. We conduct monthly meetings and on Zoom, and every month we have a guest speaker who is expert in their field, who is an expert in their healing modality. Today we have with us Brenda Rhodes. She's an expert Reiki healer, and she's also dealing with many other modalities of healing. Welcome, Brenda, to our session today.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
So are we. So we are looking forward to learning a lot from you today. So I'm going to give you a brief introduction about you to everyone. So, Brenda, you are a multimodality expert and a certified hypnotherapist. You are a neural hypnotist and a hypno-life coach. You are a Reiki master and a teacher. You are an art therapist and Indian shamanism instructor with a unique blend of science and spiritual practice. You are an international speaker and author of Great Relationships and The Worry Detox. These are the two books that you have written, and you have spoken about that on the international forum. You are a creator of the From Survive to Thrive program, which is focused on healing from narcissistic abuse. You have over 26 years of experience empowering clients through integrative healing. And recently you spoke at the Irish Hypnotherapy Conference, Ireland, and IACT/IMDHA program in Orlando. You ordained minister combining therapeutic insight with energy-based wisdom. Welcome, Brenda. So I'll give you the mic now. You can start with your presentation. And I want to tell everyone that we have muted you, but you can always write down your questions, your queries, and send us through the chat box. And when Brenda has done with her presentation, then she'll take up your queries and she'll answer them one by one. Over to you, Brenda.
Thank you. So in this session that we're going to have, it's about understanding what Reiki is. You'll receive an intro to Reiki as a holistic energy healing system. We will explore its origins, how it works, and how it supports the body's natural healing processes. You'll also learn how Reiki affects the mind and the body. To discover how Reiki can help reduce stress, release energetic blocks, ease physical comfort, and create a sense of calm, clarity, and renewal. Reiki also complements traditional medical treatments and mental health supports. You will learn about the practitioner's role and the client's experience. What happens during a Reiki session? And what can you expect to feel or sense? And how does the practitioner serve as a clear channel for universal life energy? This includes addressing questions about safety, spiritual neutrality, and personal empowerment. Experiential energy exercise we will conduct a little later, and it'll just give you an idea of how to work with energy, that you are able to just do this on your own. There's nothing really special that you have to do. We were actually born being able to send energy and help ourselves and others. And then the last part is how can we incorporate Reiki into our daily life with practical ways to work with Reiki principles and energy awareness, whether it's for your personal use or part of a broader wellness journey. So just allow yourself to relax and open your mind. Just let your mind be open to whatever. And you know, if this really resonates with you, we can talk later. You can ask me questions. So from that point, Reiki originated in Japan, and it's the Japanese word, which means universal life energy. So Rei, R-E-I, means universal or spiritual wisdom. The ki, the Ki, meaning life force energy. Reiki as a formal practice was developed by Dr. Usui, a Japanese spiritual seeker and educator. In 1922, after a 21-day meditation and fasting retreat, Usui, Tibetan, experienced a profound spiritual awakening. He reported receiving the ability to channel healing energy through this experience, as he developed a structured method for using this energy to support the body's natural healing processes. Usui taught Reiki to others and established a clinic in Tokyo, using energy to promote balance in the body, mind, and spirit. One of Usui's students, Hayashi, who also trained Takada brought this American, she was a Japanese American woman who brought Reiki to the West in the late 1930s. And down the line, the lineage, all of a sudden, William Rand received his master level from Diane McCumber. And William made Reiki accessible to all. From there, Reiki spread internationally and evolved into multiple lineages and styles. So when this first started, when the people were training, they weren't allowed to write down anything. This was all verbally taught. So there's a lot of different symbols that were taught also, and it was done in a way that it was hand gestured. So imagine if you would have 10 or 12 people learning these symbols, depending on where you are, it's actually seen in a little bit of a different perspective. And that's why if you would go and look up the Reiki symbols, you would see them done a little differently. So Reiki is a gentle, non-invasive energy healing practice that promotes balance in the body, mind, and spirit. It works by channeling the universal life energy through the hands of a trained practitioner to the recipient. It helps to activate the body's natural ability to heal. So the energy actually is coming up through the feet of the practitioner and also coming down from the sky. So you're really connected, and all around us, everything is energy. So we're just able to bring that energy and channel it, that it can come through us and then go to the client. So Reiki is very subtle. Sometimes people don't even feel anything or sense it, but it's very powerful, and it supports deep relaxation. It calms your nerves, and it restores an energetic flow where there may be blocks caused by stress, trauma, or illness. Reiki activates the parasympathetic nervous system, moving the body from fight, flight into rest and digest. And this shift allows our immune function, digestion, and cellular repair to engage more fully. Practitioners serve as a conduit for this universal life energy, offering energy through their hands, either by touching the individual very lightly, or you can also just hover over specific positions. The client's energy system intuitively draws in what is needed, and Reiki is never forced or directed by the practitioner. It flows where it most needs to bring that balance and support. And the way I explain to my clients what Reiki is, I give them this understanding that it's a smart energy. So it goes into the body, and the person, the client, their body uses this where it needs to. So that way, their body and the energy are working together, and I'm really just the one that's channeling it. Reiki helps restore emotions, reduce pain or tension, and enhances overall clarity and calm. Reiki works holistically, supporting the body's innate intelligence. It enhances deep relaxation, which improves sleep and immune function. It helps to release emotional stress or resolve resolve unresolved trauma. It balances the energy centers, our chakras. We have 7 major chakras going from our head all the way down to our root. And that promotes flow and vitality. Reiki complements medical treatments by easing side effects and improving recovery. Reiki also supports mental clarity, spiritual insight, and emotional resilience. Reiki works both on the physical and energetic level to promote deep healing and balance. Using Reiki, it helps to reduce stress by calming the nervous system and shifting the body into a restful, healing state. It releases those energetic blocks that may be contributing to emotional or physical discomfort. It eases pain and tension by improving the energy flow and restoring harmony to the body's natural rhythms. Reiki supports mental clarity by quieting the racing thoughts and helping to feel more grounded and centered. Reiki also promotes emotional balance and renewal, which offers relief from overwhelm, grief, and anxiety. The interesting thing about Reiki is it does not interfere with medications or medical help. It instead complements and enhances the body's ability to heal by creating energetic environment of harmony, presence, and peace. So, what to expect during a Reiki session? Clients will lay fully clothed on a comfortable table or sit in a chair. And the practitioner gently places their hands either lightly on or just above the body in a series of specific positions. Each hand position is held for several moments, allowing the energy to flow where it is most needed. And many clients may feel or sense a warm or tingling sensation, deep relaxation, or maybe a sense of lightness. Some people actually fall asleep. Clients also may experience emotional release or mental clarity and having a sense of peace and connection. Every session is different. Every experience is unique, and the body will respond in the way that it needs to most. The role of the practitioner, the Reiki practitioner does not give their own energy, and they don't diagnose conditions. I don't need to know what the person is even experiencing. Sometimes they'll come in and they'll talk to me about, this is what's going on, my knee hurts, or I've been in a lot of emotional pain. But essentially, the practitioner doesn't need to know what is happening, because Reiki, again, is like a smart energy, and the individual will take that where it needs to release those blocks. So there may be somebody that has a really bad headache that would come in and work with a practitioner, and they'll just be guided to send that energy to that individual. And they might be guided to work in the liver area. And so they'll just send the energy, leaving it freely flow through. And that'll go to where it needs to go. So perhaps that individual is having emotional upheaval. Maybe somebody just passed away, or they're angry, or they're just in a really hard place. So the energy of Reiki will actually work on that mental, emotional level. And once that resolves, that area that was having the discomfort, like the headache, would dissipate. So the body's energy system of the client, again, intuitively draws in the energy that's needed. Here's what's really interesting is that as a person that is practicing Reiki is giving a Reiki session, they're also receiving a Reiki treatment for themselves because the energy is going through them and passing out through the hands. So it's a 2-for-1, if you want to say. Reiki is based as spiritual neutrality. It's not tied to any religion or any belief system. In fact, the client doesn't even need to believe in Reiki for it to be effective, only to be open to the experience. Reiki is safe, gentle, and non-invasive. It honors the autonomy and the inner wisdom of the client at all times. Sessions are conducted in a supportive, respectful environment, and clients are always encouraged to speak about their comfort and their experience. Ultimately, Reiki empowers the client not by fixing them, but by helping their body and energy remember how to restore balance, clarity, and vitality from within. So for Reiki, the training, there's 3 levels. There's the first level is connecting to Reiki guides and learning how to protect yourself and your client. It's very important to understand that as a practitioner, you don't give your energy, your personal energy, to anyone. There's a couple of reasons. One, it will deplete you as a practitioner. And the other thing is, if we have stuff going on ourselves, we don't ever want to pass that on to that client. And vice versa. We don't want to pick up their stuff that they're having and take that in to our bodies and our channelings and our mental and emotional states as well. So we want to make sure that we're in that place of protection for both us and the client. There's Reiki hand positions for both self-treatment and working with others. There's actually 12 core hand positions. So what's really wonderful about this is that you would learn in Reiki 1 how to do a session for yourself, where to put your hands, how to work with that, call in your guides, and send that energy. There's been many, many nights that I may not be able to fall asleep, and I start to do Reiki on myself. I just relax and I just go out. So it's a wonderful tool for the person that is practicing to be able to do it for themselves. You also learn to sense and move energy by using your hands. So there's a couple different things that you can do when you're working with a client. One thing is called scanning. So you'll literally have your hand above and you'll just feel and sense. Sometimes it's very, very subtle, but you'll scan their body all the way from the top of the head down to the tips of the toes. In that way, you might sense something within your hands, such as coolness, maybe a little bit more heat. Maybe there's this tingling of energy going, that's sensing. Maybe there's, it might feel a little prickly, like a needle going into your skin. Sometimes you may not sense anything. So this is part of using your trust and your intuition that Reiki does exactly what it needs to do for that individual. You can also scan the chakras to see which way they're moving, if they're moving, how they're moving, if there's blocks, using a pendulum. And this tool is just really an extension of you, but the pendulum will show if there's movement in that chakra. So for those of you that may not be familiar with chakras, you have your crown chakra, your third eye, your throat, your heart, your solar plexus, your second chakra, which is your sacral, and then your root would be down from your bottom of your waist all the way down to your feet. And so every other one, starting at the crown, is going counterclockwise if you are balanced. And then the even chakras are going clockwise. So that gives you a sense. And sometimes you might work with someone and their chakras going the opposite way. And you can just ask your guides, do I continue to work on this chakra right here, or should I move on? And believe it or not, you get that knowing. You just know which is what you need to do. So with that, also learning Reiki 1, there are 4 attunements that are passed in the initiation by the teacher. So the attunements, there's actually 4 symbols that would be placed within most of your chakras in specific ways. And that would be done 4 different times through the training of Reiki 1. You would also get a little bit of information of the background. I gave you some background about Reiki, where it started and all that. There may be a little bit more that's added to that. There's also about ethics and boundaries of energy work. One of the things to know about when you work with Reiki is that you can do the best you can. You be that open conduit. Your stuff doesn't matter at the time. And you're there, you're present with that individual. The thing about this is it's also about when they walk out your door, you have to trust that they're going to do what they need to do with that energy. And sometimes people are not in a place of allowing that energy to work for them, whether it be they're resistant to it because it may be benefiting them to be ill, or maybe they're just in a little fear place and they need a little bit more experience with receiving it. And some people that are receiving it don't feel anything, but then they may notice a week, 2 weeks later that something just totally shifts in their life. And then they'll come back and they'll be like, oh my God, this happened. I can't believe it. This is working for me now. So we can't have an attachment, which is my point, to an end result of what this is going to look like for that individual, because their subconscious mind knows exactly how to work with this energy and what they need to do with it. Then a certification would be given for Reiki 1. And then that individual that has learned Reiki 1, they would work primarily on themselves. They can practice doing the different hand positions. There's certain things that you can charge with Reiki. You can send Reiki into your food to give it a higher vibration. This is all done with intention. And that's very important, that, we live our lives with intent. And so when we're going to work with an individual, it's about setting our intention that we keep our stuff and it's not about us, it's about that client. We set the intention that knowing that Reiki is going to do exactly what it needs to do for that individual, and also that that individual is going to use it in the way that they need. So as I said before, when they walk out the door, it's not our responsibility. We can just do the best we can. So practicing is really, really key to level 1. It gives the person the understanding of how to start really sensing that energy, how to feel it, how to move it, and working with their intuition. When you receive attunements, it does open up some more psychic abilities, because what's happening is it's clearing your energy system. So when you receive the attunements for Reiki, it takes about 21 to 30 days, because what happens is that energy and those attunements are working with each chakra in releasing and clearing things for you. So it starts at the root, and then it eventually, the last one it would clear would be the crown. Sometimes there are certain chakras that don't need that much clearing. They're pretty clear. And sometimes so they might move through that. The energy might move through that in about a day or so. Sometimes there's a chakra that might be really stuck. So maybe let's say the root chakra. The root chakra is about your place where you belong in this world, your support. If you feel, grounded and really solid and confident with yourself, some people aren't. And therefore, so that chakra may need an extra couple days. So that's why I said it takes about 21 to 30 days for every chakra to clear. And then generally, it's not really as much advocated about going out and creating a practice with Reiki level 1. It's really about practicing yourself, maybe practicing on other people. And again, you can charge your food, you can charge your medicines, you can charge if you work with crystals, just really getting into the feel and understanding how this energy is moving within you. Then the second level would be Reiki 2, and that's deepening the intuitive and energetic sensitivities. It's also about learning how to use these Reiki symbols for emotional and mental healing, for physical focus, and distant healing. So when somebody receives the attunements for Reiki 2, they get 2 attunements. Now, what that means is they're going to get at 2 different times during that training, but they're still having the 4 symbols being passed to them each time they receive that attunement. And again, this works in the same way, where it works with clearing and releasing all your different chakras. Again, it takes about 21 to 30 days for everything to be moving for that individual. What's really interesting about Reiki 2 is now you get to play with symbols. You get to practice these specific symbols, which are used for mental, emotional healing. There's a symbol. There's one for the physical. That's a symbol. There's one for getting the energy moving. And then there's another one for distant healing. So distant healing could be, I could send an individual healing from right where I'm sitting now to somebody in India. And it's like that. It happens automatically. Or I could use this distant healing to heal a trauma that happened in my past. I can work with that symbol to release that energy so it no longer affects me. With the distant healing, you can also be sitting right there with your client. They may be 3, 4, maybe 5 feet away from you, and you can still send them that energy. So these symbols are immensely helpful and gives a good focus. You would also learn techniques for sending the Reiki across time and space. These attunements are clearing your energetic blockages and supporting a deeper healing for yourself. And now is the time where you step into that place of, perhaps, if that's what you are drawn to, is working with clients professionally. So I could have somebody come in, I'll have a table set up, there'll be nice, relaxing music. I don't normally do candles or incense because some people are very sensitive to that, but I do have my office very cleansed. And that way, I am working with them. A healing or a session usually runs about 45 to 60 minutes. And what I find is that majority of my clients are so relaxed while I'm working with them. I don't want to flip them because there are positions for the back of the person, but I will ask them if they would like to move. And if not, again, Reiki is a very smart energy. Their body knows intuitively how to use that energy. So it's really not necessary to have to turn them. So you just run the energy in that way. And you're working with the different hand positions. So you can figure, about 5 minutes. So 5 minutes per position is 60 minutes. Again, this client may be clear in certain places, so you don't have to spend as much time on that specific chakra or that area. However, they might have some stuff going on in their solar plexus that would benefit having more time to work with them and just send that energy. So in Reiki level 2, you also learn how to create a business. You get that information on how to put it together, help the individual to walk out and feel confident. And again, this is about more practice and working with people. One of the things that was interesting with Dr. Usui was he would be working in really a lot of areas that are, had a lot of trouble. There was a lot of trauma. There was maybe some lower income. And he would keep doing these sessions. He would keep doing these healings for these individuals. And what he recognized was, and it was all free, he just gave them himself. And what he started recognizing was, for those people that didn't pay, they didn't see a benefit of it. And there's a lot of people that come to working with Reiki, and because in their belief system, it's a spiritual thing for them. And in their belief system, spiritually, they have this growing up knowledge or this information that you shouldn't be paid for doing something spiritual. But here's the thing. It has to be a benefit. There has to be some kind of value for an individual to receive this energy in order for them to have this to work for them. And if we keep giving of ourselves freely all the time because of this idea it should be free, we're going to wear ourselves out. So it's really important to create a balance. And if there is a belief system that you shouldn't be charging for this, maybe this could help give another perspective. I'm not charging for sending Nisa energy. I'm charging for my time. It took a lot of time for me to learn this process. It took many years to get skilled as I have become. And it took a lot of money because I had to pay for those different levels. And so I was one of those people that had to get out of this. Oh, this is a very spiritual thing. I shouldn't charge for this. But I'm not charging for the energy. I'm actually just charging for my time. It would be the same thing as you charging your client for hypnosis. And they're appreciative and they use it to their benefit. And, if there is somebody that really needs help and they can't do it, yeah, sure, I'll be there. I'll step up and I'll do it freely. But if they're not using it because they're taking advantage of it or my time, then we need to create a boundary. All right. So after level 2, you have level 3, which is Master Teacher. Now, I teach the original Usui Reiki. And this is what was taught to me almost 30 years ago. Today, there's all kinds of Reiki. There's fire Reiki, there's Karuna Reiki, there's all kinds of Reiki. But all those Reikis originated from the Usui Reiki. And that's what I'm teaching and talking about today. So when you step into this level 3, most people don't go there. And the people that do choose to do this are the ones that, one, they want to teach it and they want to pass the attunements. Or the other reason would be is it does develop a deeper sense of understanding self And if whatever their spiritual thought process is, it does let them go and get connected closer to their source, whatever they connect to or call it. So those are the two reasons people would want to do this master level 3. Now there's advanced techniques of working with the energy and doing the healings. You would get one symbol or one attunement through the whole training. And then that would be actually the 4 symbols again that would be passed to you, but it's only done one time. You would also receive the master symbol and the understanding of how to use that. And the master symbol is to be able to pass those attunements to other students. There is a deep spiritual development, and it also helps to, again, clear your chakras, opens you up. So now your central channel, the one that takes the energy in, it's much, I'll just give in reference, kind of like it's so much clearer. So in my visual, it's a little bit bigger, and it runs along our spinal column. But that's the way I perceive it. But what it is it's clearing. You're clearing your central channel so that you're able to take in as much energy that is needed for that individual and just send it. And so you will get the teaching methodology for Reiki 1 and 2. You will learn how to teach and pass the attunements to students for Reiki 1 and 2. And a deeper guidance of starting that Reiki practice or school. So I'd like to do an experience with you right now. So if you take your hands, in your hands, you have minor chakras, and actually in your feet as well, but we'll use our hands. So just clap and then rub your hands together. And when you feel the heat, just pull your hands about maybe 6 to 8 inches apart and notice what you sense.
Vibration.
Notice, just do a little gentle going back and forth, closer, get your hands a little closer to each other, go back, and just notice that. It's very subtle, but this is energy. For me, it feels kind of spongy. Actually, I can feel it all the way down in my elbows. It feels a little bit more warmer. And it also feels like I have 2 negative batteries where they're repelling each other. And you can play with this. And if you're not sensing this, just know it's there and trust and keep practicing this. And now just imagine you're creating this ball, a beautiful ball in your hands. And with your thoughts, just think, I'm going to fill that ball up with love. Just fill it up with a whole bunch of love. Okay, very good. Now, take that ball of love and take it and place it to your heart and take a deep inhalation and take it in. And close your eyes and just allow yourself to sense. It might be a knowing. It might be a feeling. And some people, it takes a little bit of time to be able to really sense this. So we're born with this ability to send this energy. And if you would think about when you were little and you may have fallen and somebody picked you up and they helped you, they held you. Their love is great, but essentially what was happening is they were instinctively, unknowingly channeling universal energy out of their hands, and your body took it in the way it needed, and it calmed you, and it helped to take the pain away. So anybody can do this. And you can, I've been working on my daughter who is 36 weeks pregnant, and I've been sending energy to her baby. So it is so gentle and such a wonderful thing to be able to have in your toolbox if you would be, interested in learning this. So incorporating Reiki into the daily life, even though you are not attuned to Reiki right now, you still have this. All you have to do is close your eyes and set the intention that you're going to bring energy into you. You can just put your hands on your heart and send that energy. And that's very helpful to start the day off or end your day, to just send that energy. And maybe, like I said, you don't feel it, or perhaps you can visualize a white light coming through you, coming out of your hands and going into your heart. Whatever way your intuition tells you to work with us. For a practitioner, there are Reiki principles, and it's a daily guide for living with intention and compassion. And part of those principles are, just for today, do not allow yourself to become angry. Just for today, do not worry. Just for today, be grateful. Just for today, work with integrity. Just for today, be kind to others and yourself. Isn't that a beautiful way to love yourself? And by reflecting or repeating these principles daily, it helps us to shift our mindset, to reduce reactivity, to increase emotional resilience. Reiki is a mindful practice. You could use it throughout the day. You don't have to do a 60-minute session on yourself. You can just send Reiki for 5 minutes. You can just send it for maybe 20 minutes, whatever works for you. And it will help you. It will help you to open up to emotional clarity, give you a reset, use your breath with intention. Just bring that energy in, and it can shift your entire state. So people who are Reiki trained offer short sessions or calming touch to friends, loved ones, even pets. It's a beautiful way to share the energy, and it's very gentle and respectful. Integrating Reiki into a wellness lifestyle, it works beautifully alongside practices like meditation, yoga, journaling, breath work, and even prayer. It helps us to stay grounded, clear, connected, especially in those times that are stressful, or we're in transition, or there's an emotional challenge. So, are there any questions?
Yes, we do have some questions. The first question is by Priyanka. So she's asking, is it safe to use Reiki as a complementary healing modality in cases of bipolar disorder or neurological conditions, especially when medical diagnosis may be unclear or misinterpreted? She has
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. It does. The body will use it in the way that it will benefit it. This is a universal energy. It's not going to cause any kind of harm to anything. And if the body doesn't need that, say I'm channeling a lot of energy, and if it's too much for the body and that individual is only going to take in what it needs.
Okay, so I'll come to the second question. What precautions should a Reiki practitioner take when working with clients who have a history of psychiatric diagnosis like schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, or epilepsy?
Okay,
So what
first of all, it's about having the awareness. And if you're a Reiki 2 practitioner, you can work with these people distantly. You have to take caution if someone is schizophrenic. I generally don't work with schizophrenic patients because it's not going to hurt them, but I don't know their reactions or how they will be with me. So it's more about my own protection. So if an individual is schizophrenic and you know that for sure, then I would do like a distant healing for them, but I wouldn't have them in my office. The bipolar, that's not an issue. Epilepsy, it's not an issue. Epilepsy is nice to know if a person is epileptic. Obviously, you don't want to have any kinds of strobing lights or anything that would key them in to have epilepsy seizure. But there's nothing that Reiki won't harm any of these people. But you want to make sure that you are going to be very protected.
Thank you. So
on a physical level, yes.
There's one more question. What is the best way to cleanse your energy field after giving Reiki to a person with heavy emotional energy?
Very great question. So there's a couple different ways that you can do this. First of all, when you're done with a session working with that individual, the first thing you do is you go wash your hands in cold water. That stops the energy from flowing. If you don't have cold water, say somebody fell in the street and you're giving them energy, you can just place your hands on the ground. Placing your hands on the ground, you can also discharge any of that heavy energy. One of the things with a Reiki practitioner is that they're trained so that they are already protected and they don't take on that energy. There are specific ways of creating protection so it does not come into the body. I can notice it running up to my arms and it's not allowed to go past my elbows. And then there's different things you can shake it off. You can go wash your hands in cold water. You don't want to keep that with you. There's also this stuff that I get from South America. It's called Florida water. It's a great cleanser, but you can also sage yourself, sage your office, wherever you're working. Get in the shower, let it just imagine all that stuff just washing off and away from you. So there's actually more than one answer for this. And it really depends on which one is key to you for that specific session, because for you as well, every session is different.
There's one more question. What boundaries should be maintained if a person becomes emotionally dependent on Reiki sessions?
Well, that would be coming into the thing of codependency. And so it's something that you have to find those boundaries that are specific for you. So perhaps if the person is dependent, you may want to schedule them farther apart if that feels right to you. Or you may say, I think the benefit for you right now would be to take a break, or you can actually refer them to someone else if that feels right. I honestly haven't had anybody that's become dependent upon Reiki sessions. I haven't experienced that personally. That in my mind would be closer to getting it free all the time. And so they're not seeing a value to it, and they don't see value to your time as well. So we have to be the one to see our value.
There's one more question by Bhavya. So he's asking, does mind influence the energy or energy influence the mind?
For the practitioner, because you're setting the intention that you are being present for that client, this really doesn't have anything to do with mind except for your setup. So it's just flowing through you. For the client, it could actually be either or. It really depends on their emotional state and how they're going to use that energy.
That's interesting.
I can tell you this. If somebody is in a place of one, they're resistant, or they really don't want to get better, their mind is going to influence that energy. They're going to not accept the energy. And what that feels like for me is if I'm sending the energy, it just feels like a wall. Sometimes they're resistant, so you would ask them to take a deep breath. And as they're exhaling, that's when they let the energy flow in. But if they're not willing to do that, then absolutely the mind will influence or hold off that energy. But the energy actually can also help the mind to shift. So it really depends on that session, on the individual.
Brenda, there's one more question by Priyanka. She's asking, in some cases, individuals begin receiving Reiki symbols or energetic impressions spontaneously. How can one discern whether these are genuine spiritual connections or manifestations of energetic influence, such as energy parasites?
Okay, so Dr. Yusui had the attunements downloaded. It's really about working with your intuition. It's really about, because you are practicing and you are protecting yourself. There's a couple things that you can do. You can do, I can't think of the word, muscle testing. So you can check, is this an attunement or is this a parasite? We can attract parasites, but that's why we need to create that practice every day so that we are clear, so that we have that spiritual protection. And if you want, you can put the white light around you and start working and seeing how these symbols, start asking these symbols, how am I supposed to use you? What are your benefit? What can I know from this? What do you have to teach me? I feel intuitively that if it were a parasite, it would be a very negative thing. It would not be in the aspect of helping someone to get better. It would be more negativity, maybe like a negative thought process or a negative feeling. I don't run into a lot of attachments I've had, but again, that's really about being protected, and it really is instinctual because you had this full training.
That's interesting. Brinda, we have one more question by Dr. Sunil Prakash. He's asking, how is it connected with hypno? Does it?
Absolutely. It's energy. So you can put it together. When you're doing Reiki level 2, because you're doing distant healing, there's a way of sending energy through your eyes. And there's a way of enveloping in a bubble and sending Reiki in that way if you wanted to do it that way. I use Reiki all the time with my clients. One of the very important things to do is understand, one, if they're open to it. Two, since you're a Reiki practitioner, you're able to intuitively get answers. So you would talk to this person's higher self and ask for their permission. If it's a yes, it's a go. If it's a maybe or a no, it's don't do it. but I use, if I know that person is open to it, or I get a sense that their specific thought processes in a specific spiritual way, that I'll just ask them, I'll just ask them, are you okay if I incorporate Reiki? There are times I might go up to someone, because in the Reiki process, you can pull off heavy energy. You just grab it and you throw it to the ground, you snap, because that's releasing that energy from you. You don't want to hold on to their stuff. There are times that I would do that, but most time I'm not needing to touch them. I just send that Reiki and it's combined.
That's interesting, Brinda. There's one more question by Dr. Sunil Prakash. He's asking, how much does the emotional sense of therapists affect the healing on the client? How much does the emotional sense of the therapist affect the healing on the client?
If I put it this way, Brenda, that when the therapist is giving the energy to the client, if his at that moment his emotional disturbance is there due to some reason, then how is it going to affect, of sending the energies to the client? Because
Okay.
therapist is also emotional person, at
Right.
that moment, there may be some reason due to which the emotions are in a disturbed condition.
Right. If you're going right, exactly what you're saying, it will affect the client. And it's not okay for you to work on that client if you're having that emotional disturbance. We need to take the responsibility and be ethical to clear ourselves enough that we can disengage from our stuff and be right there for that client. I think you probably know, you probably do that when you're working with hypnosis with an individual as well. It's a positive way of disassociation. When I'm working with a client and I'm in my office and they're right before me, my life doesn't exist at that moment. My bills don't exist at that moment. The death of my dog didn't exist at that moment. And that is my ethical standing. We have to really step into that rightness for the client, because it's not okay to feel like crap and send them, allow this energy to come through us. That's our job. So maybe before they come, it's about meditating and using the Reiki on the self to clear that. But if we're not able to clear that enough where we can disassociate it from that hour that we're with them, we don't have a right working on them. It's just not fair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda.
Sure.
In fact, I'm also a Reiki healer. I would say that if we are ourselves not fit to give healings, then the healing is also not effective. Mm-hmm. This is my personal experience. So there is no good results of the healings. So thank you so much, Brenda, for the very enlightening and a wonderful session by you. We all enjoyed it thoroughly and hope to see you very soon once again. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It was truly a delight.
Thank you, Brenda, for being with us and accepting our invitation to just address our audience. And in future, we'll be looking more from you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Brenda.
Okay. Bye-bye.